Tyrell, how's
Hello.
it going?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. That video was powerful, man.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the crazy thing is, um, I almost didn't make it. So our video guy came to me, and it was just after the George Floyd incident, and you know, I knew that I had to say something, but I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to go about it. And then our video guy, Rich Abney, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a platform," and I just felt like it was my duty to speak.
Okay, so what made you feel the need? So you said George Floyd, and there's many different ways to speak on a platform. You could use TikTok,
Right.
or or you could. I did when I was processing the George Floyd information. It took me 2 weeks to really feel like, hey, what can I say here? And I ended up writing a post on Instagram. You went ahead and produced a full-fledged 5-minute video. Um,
Right.
why did you feel the need to do that?
Yeah, I think it was just because with it, like we looked at all the schools and youth sports as well. And a lot of people were posting just some messages in support and solidarity, and I just felt like why not put a face to it? Why not put a real life person and shed some real emotions into a video that could really touch people? That
That's
was
fair. That's no, no, that makes complete sense because I feel like when people can physically and like almost like tangibly see with their senses and like understand there's a face to this, it's not just these words being thrown around. It connects, it resonates better, right?
yeah.
You mentioned in the video that you came across was it a kijiji ad?
Yeah, actually, that was about 2 years ago, and yeah, it was, just a basement suite that was being posted for rent, and they posted the price, and beside it, it said whites only, and that was shocking to see, honestly.
And like, I mean, you're a student. I was a student. You're a student at the time too.
Yeah,
So I
still,
mean,
yeah, for sure.
I can only imagine as a student, like, you're looking potentially for a place to live, while being a student athlete, getting your rest and recovery and everything, but then having to deal with this extra layer of, wait, I can't live here? Like whites only? Like, how did that really make you feel?
Yeah, well, initially, you're just kind of shocked, like, it's 2000, I guess, 19 at the time, and we feel like we're removed from, where people can't eat at restaurants or people can't live in such and such area. And it's like this is still here. It's prevalent. It's right in front of me.
Judging, you said something along the lines of, judging off the color of your skin or the texture of your hair. Those lines really got to me because it's interesting that even within the Black community, there's certain levels of, I don't know if we can call it quite racism, but privilege, as lighter skin tones seem to be more glorified. And it's an uncomfortable conversation to have. But what's your experience with that? Like, because there is a certain level of privilege, I will say, when it comes
Yeah.
to being more white passing than Black.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, of course, like being biracial, like I am, and skin is a little bit lighter. You can see that there is discrepancy sometimes between just the levels, as you said, of sort of blackness, and that's super disappointing at the same time because you see some people can take advantage of that, and some people are leaning towards more of a Caucasian. If they cut their hair and they look a certain way, and other people are the opposite. So yeah, that's super unfortunate.
Of course, and like, but I guess like the main thing is like, how do we change the narrative? How do we go ahead and navigate these waters to like be equal, to be seen as like, no, we are one and the same.
Yeah, I think it starts like with the Black community itself. I think that is big, like just seeing ourselves, no matter like the skin tone. I think it's been a good job of the Black community, from my experience at least. Like I've been around all shades of Black people a little like me and darker, but yeah, I truly believe that does start with the Black community, just standing as one. Like we are one, and we're not going to be separated in any way, regardless of all of our shades.
How do you feel that you're perceived?
Perceived just as a person, as an athlete, or
Yeah, as person, athlete,
yeah,
Black
in
man.
my community, it's interesting because uh, I was I'm playing for the university in the same town that I grew up in. So I looked up heavily to the university athletes and, really took what they said and looked up to them, admired them. So in my community, I do believe that like I'm a voice and like sort of a figure of I don't want to say hope, but just somebody that people look up to that can rely on for, words of encouragement, especially in times like these.
And being a student athlete is almost like being a role model. Like you kind of touched on it there. Like how important is that for younger generations of the Black community, or just anybody in general, really, to come see you like lead the way, like student athlete. That alone is a whole task to itself.
Right. Yeah. I think it's amazing in the sense that you have a platform and you have a responsibility, but it's more important what you choose to do with it. Like I said before, like I almost didn't make the video because I wasn't sure what to do, but I just realized that like this can't be a question of do we want to do something? Like that shouldn't be even a question. Like we have to. This is our duty. Our ancestors struggled. People have endured things that I couldn't even fathom. So to sit up there and speak over something that is tragic is, in my opinion, much easier than what's previously happened. So
yeah, it's easier to speak about it and ask for demand justice than it is for anybody to go through it. We can feel the emotional weight, we can feel it, but look at like Breonna and how like she was shot in her sleep, or it's still kind of unclear exactly. I hear multiple stories, but all we know is that she's not alive, she's not with us, she's resting in power. And there's so many cases like that across the states, across Canada. People forget that this is very much a domestic issue. I've had to talk about it on my Raptor Today show about how Draymond Green said, I don't understand basically how BLM is relevant to Canada, and Chris Boucher called him out being like, am I not a Black man?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That was crazy. Yeah. I think that the NBA, like just because you mentioned Chris and Draymond, I don't mind what they're doing. Just with obviously they usually do things with Black History Month in the month of February, and they we see their shirts that they're wearing now is built by Black History. I think that's what it says across their chest, right? I think that's cool. I think that's something unique that, looking at youth sports in itself, like what can we do in the month of February? I haven't seen I'm a part of the Canada West, and we have like breast cancer awareness month, or not month, just we have like a day where people wear, we have our own t-shirts and have fundraisers, things of that nature. So I think that would be really interesting to bring to the table.
That would be. Just final question for you. You made this video. It's awesome. It's amazing. Where do you go from here?
Yeah, well, absolutely cannot stop. So I have actual a plan that I'm looking to have play out after COVID's finished. So what that's going to look like is I want to go to elementary schools. I live in a city. It's not very big, like it's 80,000 or something. But I know all elementary schools, and like I grew up here, so I want to go to the elementary schools. My head coach Todd Jordan has a background in education. He was a teacher, so he wants to put a plan together with me, and I want to go around to the elementary schools and give a little presentation on Black history and Black culture. And then ultimately the end game or end goal would be to teach it to maybe another student athlete on my team or just in the city, and just cover, all the elementary schools and just give them some history.
I love that. It's amazing how we don't teach Black history, not really, in the school system. I was talking to my colleagues before, and I was like, I had to go home, and my Jamaican father had to sit me down and tell me about the Underground Railroad in Canada and a lot of other Black history items that we don't see in the curriculum that you think should just be common nature. Like, it's amazing to me, at least, how we teach the history and the truth of people who came and colonized. And like when we talked about Indigenous people and how they were stripped of their rights. Right. And no different than like how Black people were really treated, to be honest. So I'm happy. That sounds like a great plan to go.
Yeah. And like even in post-secondary institutions, like in British Columbia, we don't have like at least at my school, like I would love to see it be implemented more in just even like 100 level class, just be offered to Black history and Black culture, just to learn more about it. Like it's in the high schools, but not as much as I would like to see. So I think just in the education systems in the youth, I think that is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Do you have any final things to say?
No, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
pleasure.